Kendrick, Cole, and Drake. And now,
people still say the same thing. They still say those same three.
If we're putting 1, 2, 3, it is 1, 2, and a very distant 3. If you're talking about Drake, because Drake is
talking about rapping, and we're talking about rapping, he's not even on the list.
There's some emotional things going on.
Yeah,
a lot of emotions in music, a lot of emotions in responses to music, a lot of emotional grown men out here, man.
Hey, it's good to have emotions. What do you mean?
These types?
And intimacy.
There's nothing wrong with emotions. We all have them.
Yeah.
Are you advocating to suppress emotions?
No.
No, but
in the words of H-Town, emotions make you cry sometimes.
Exactly.
They do.
There you go. No, that's a deep cut from the 90s.
Yes, sir.
Good job,
Bring
man.
that back. That song was all right.
It was all right.
You know that one?
No.
I'm gonna have to run it at the next one after work for you.
I agree with I agree with the sentiment, but
No, that what he said right there though, that's one of them ones. He on the low. But no, man, Drake has been very upset, man. I think he's upset because what you call it, midterm.
Yeah,
he dropped a lot of midterms on his album.
A lot of midterms going on
for all of the dogs. Yeah. I don't know if that's the correct title for that. But,
I don't know. I only like one song. So.
Out of 23, is that how many was on there?
So I believe it's 23 joints on here.
22 many.
Dang. Son.
Did you guys?
That was a bar.
Yeah.
22 many.
22 many.
With 23. Hey. Okay. Sorry. On accident.
I just thought about what he said. That is a bar. Joe Budden, he's very upset with Joe Budden's what do you want to call it, breakdown analysis of the album, which I thought
too.
Oh, is his daddy mad too?
His daddy mad too.
I thought what Joe said, Joe didn't sound like a hater to me. He just assessed it for what it was. But Drake came out and basically called him a failure, and
he wrote a whole dissertation.
I'm talking about y'all. Everybody's read that, right? Y'all read?
I don't know. Everybody home. Have you read it?
Yeah. I mean,
I don't know where you've been if you haven't.
I looked at it, but I'm like. Look, Drake, if you are so into words, then why do you got so much stuff on this album you should have left in your draft folder? You know what I'm saying? Like,
because
you
people give him a pass every time.
You should have taken on some of this effort. Joe was a lot nicer to Drake than I would have been if we had the opportunity to sit and listen song by song and critique specific lyrics. Like, we don't have the license to play music on our show like Joe Budden does. I would not have been as kind as Joe was. Joe said several times, I like the record. You know, there's just some things I'm disappointed with. And I think Joe, I mean, they always try to make it personal, but Joe is a rapper. And he is a wordsmith. I know some of y'all, all you know is Pump It Up, or you know him as a podcaster. But like, I actually listened to Joe Budden's music.
He was also in a group called Slaughterhouse.
He was in Slaughterhouse.
Let's
not forget.
And his solo and the mixtape. Like, I was one of those people, like, I really like Joe Budden without knowing all this other stuff about him. And that's fine. But like, because I like lyrics, you know what I'm saying? I was somebody that didn't, I dug Joe Budden. Still do it. I dig him he's really the only outside podcast outside of people I know that I listen to.
Let's dive into some of the stuff that he said.
Yeah, let's get to it.
You talking about Champagne Poppy?
Some of the things that Drake said.
I mean, I have the whole quote here.
Once again, I wish he'd have taken as much time.
I wouldn't expect him to say champagne. I wouldn't expect him to say champagne poppy.
I can read what Champagne Poppy said.
Read what Champagne Poppy said, bro.
He said, "You have failed at music, Joe Budden.
Oh, man.
You left it behind to do what you're doing in this clip, because this is what actually pays your bills. For any artist watching this, just remember, you are watching a failure give their opinion on his idea of a recipe for success. A quitter give their opinion on how to achieve longevity. Not me. You switched careers because the things that pop into your brain you had broke. Living check to check. Shouts to the French version of check. And the raps you write had 450 men showing up to your shows in dusty and nice jeans." How you say that?
Nietzsche.
Okay,
keep going. You got it.
To screw up their face to Mood Music 29 and pretend you are the GOAT. Please, to any artist that's doing what they feel is right, don't let these opinions affect your mindset after that. Why is Drake caring about a Joe Budden when you are Drake? Anyways,
because he was a Joe Budden fan.
There it is.
That's why.
Or stan even at one point in time.
Openly.
Yeah.
Got you. So he continues. This guy is the poster child for frustration and surrendering. You retired and we never hung up your jersey. We don't even remember your number. We know you for doing this. You withdrew from rap not because you accomplished all you need to. It's because it wasn't working for you. I never want anybody in the generations to think that the whole everybody's entitled to their opinion is a real thing. I kind of agree with that, but I'll continue. This is a man projecting his own self-hate and the fact I did and continue to do everything he wanted to do for himself. If you need to put it in simpler terms, I own a 767. He owns a modest house in the 973 and flies first class on special occasions. That is a weird, goofy statement at the end.
Yeah,
But anyways,
that's one of those weird flexes that
it's like, ooh, you have a plane.
Yes, it's one of the reasons why hip hop and rap is down 40% because we can't relate to that type of stuff.
Exactly.
Anyway.
Like, cause this is what's weird. He didn't realize, okay, you thought you were going at Joe Budden, but you're basically going at every working
Everybody
person in
listens to you.
America.
Everybody.
You know,
But they think he ate when he said all that. They think he really ate.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's his opinion. He has every right to be mad at Joe Budden for that. But he could have kept just not said nothing. It would have been perfectly fine because he's going to do whatever numbers he's going to do regardless. Like everybody sitting here, we don't really rock with the project, right?
No.
But the masses do. The people that
I don't.
That
Do you think?
Yeah.
It's going to be another number
There's
one.
a lot of people that still are rocking with this regardless.
I've heard the
it's
opposite,
because it's
but-
Drake.
But this is the thing.
It depends on what circle you're
In a
hearing it from.
streaming era, like I said, there would have been a time where none of us would have listened to this unless we would have listened to it for the podcast so we could discuss it and hate on it. Not so much
Not hate. Yeah, not
critique
hate.
it. Critique
not
it
hate.
from a
Hate on it because it is bad.
Yeah, but we're like
that's
when
not
I
hate.
listen to any album, like I come in here, I want to be able to critique something in good faith. I don't want to just come in here and talk bad about it because I feel like that's what we're supposed to do today. Like,
I've never done that. I just don't listen.
I mean, like I said, like, yeah. But I'm just saying that, like, sometimes rappers, they forget that, okay, you talking about, Joe Budden. Joe Budden still he still has a Maybach and he has a driver. And his house is probably still very nice. And flying first class occasionally is still better than the average American.
and even considered, it's completely irrelevant to being a good,
and that
being
doesn't
successful.
And that doesn't have anything to do with why,
That doesn't sound like a failure to me.
while that doesn't have anything to do with why you have all these whack lyrics about Esperanza Spalding and
Rihanna.
you in here dissing women who aren't thinking about you.
Yeah.
Like, some of that stuff is just corny, dog. He's 36 years old.
Man,
you
look.
can do better.
It's
You're a
called
grown
For All
man.
the Dogs, and he's dissing women on the album.
Yeah, because
That's crazy.
Shout out to
Because if you want to diss Joe Budden, like, just put out the deluxe and diss him on record.
I wouldn't do that.
These emotional Instagram posts, like, this ain't it, dog. Like, this is definitely not for the dogs.
Nah, it's not.
Nah, the music wasn't either.
Shout out to the homie Il Brown, producer from Chicago. He said if Joe Budden is a failure, then 98% of rappers and MCs are failures. And he uses a hashtag he's always used, no Aubreyism.
The thing about failure and somebody as successful as Drake calling somebody a failure is really unfair because, I mean, you're somebody that is at the height of pop music, pop music mountain, pretty much.
1%.
You're right there with Beyonce and Taylor Swift and all of them. Everybody does not achieve that type of musical success. That's just not how it works. Somebody like Joe Budden that took his musical career and transcended it and moved it over to the podcast lane,
Which everybody's doing.
which a lot of people are doing, and got a really good deal off of it.
True.
That's not being a failure. He's somebody that's respectful, that can talk about what he's talking about, and people will listen.
Of all the people that you can say where Drake says not everybody, gets an opinion, that is so completely irrelevant to this case. Because if there's anybody in the musical conversational realm that's able to talk about hip hop, it would be Joe Budden.
Exactly.
Who has done this, who can rap better than Drake, who has rapped better than Drake. You know what I mean? So
Who's
like,
dissed Drake in the past
I mean, like,
and then retired.
it's just, he pivoted and did something else is what it is.
I mean,
and he's the most successful hip hop commentator out there right now.
Isn't it on
probably.
the Joe
Probably.
Budden
easily.
network? Does he own his podcast?
Yeah.
Isn't it on his own network? I'm confused about the number of people that, and I think some of it is just Drake stanism and just trolling, but I saw so many grown men trying to tell me that Joe Budden is a failure. I'm like, how? Everybody goes back to, man, he dropped Pump It Up and we ain't hear nothing else.
That's a lie.
So, first of all, that's cap. Second of all, that's your justification for fam being a complete fail. The word failure?
Third of all, Pump It Up was more successful than anything anybody's saying.
Thank you.
Anybody that's trying to say that Pump It Up wasn't a failure is still more successful than everybody that I've seen say that Pump It Up wasn't a failure. That was a failure.
That's
I
the
feel
thing.
like I completely butchered that
I
statement.
know where he's going. I know where he's going.
Look, people were like, yeah, he's a one-hit wonder. Well, that's one more hit than you have.
Yeah, like,
you know what I'm saying? The average person who wants to criticize or all of a sudden jump out the window for Drake.
Yeah.
Like I said, Drake, if you got all these words for, like, you the one who put out the lyric, I got so many checks, I'm Czechoslovakian, or whatever you said, like, come on, dog. That was terrible.
How about the line where he talks about he thinks he's bi because he likes one of the guys.
I was like, how are we
going?
going? We just gonna let you get away with these
we just
suspect
gonna let you
lines?
slide with all of this stuff, man. That's wild. But back to Joe Budden, though.
Yeah, let's get back in there on that.
Because you can't classify somebody that never disappeared into oblivion a failure, for one.
Okay.
He came out, maybe you do think he had one hit, but he never fell off to the point where you didn't hear about him anymore.
True.
Like, he was able to use his musical success and get with Slaughterhouse, which was signed to Shady Records.
Right.
Yep.
Then he was on TV for the rap and hip hop soap opera shows.
Yep.
Then he moved on to his own podcast, and the podcast was crazy successful
Still is.
and was able to get a better deal than he got before, which is like one of the best deals beyond
Rogan.
Rogan. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So, I mean, he's up there. Somebody that can move and shake in the podcast world like that and be relevant like that is not a failure to me.
If we keeping it a buck, Joe is one of the first artists to cross over into that and become like successful with it.
Yeah.
Joe is one of the pioneers. If we look at how many people and artists have tried podcasts and failed, or
Hell,
just
if
doing
just
okay
stop.
with it now,
He
or
threw
just quit.
academics a bone by being on the show with him
Thank
because
you.
that kind of gave him more relevance.
Thank you. So the concept of failure,
I don't like-
they're losing me with that.
Well, this is just a personal anecdote. I just hate when people try to call other people failures.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like the Western ideology behind it because it's all rooted in capital a lot of times too.
There it is.
But it's just true. It's just like, who is somebody to say, like, okay, he's a failure, what, because he didn't make X amount of money? Is he happy? I don't know. Drake's crying on this entire album, and now he's taking some emotional time off. So what are we gauging
He
this
needs
off?
that time off.
I'm just saying, like, what are we gauging this? Is it just on how much money you make? If that's the case, well, man, all right, that's
Well,
cool.
then, and we just talked about Little Brother, because then Little Brother is a failure.
Well, we already know the
And
connection
we know
with
that's
them
not
and Drake.
And if that's the case, well, I don't know. Drake stole his old style from Fonte, so there we are. I mean, early on at least.
Oh,
He's used a few
undeniable.
people's styles. Yeah.
I'm just saying, I'm going to get back to the record. Let me tell you something.
Let's talk about the record.
There's
say
nothing to talk about. It sucks.
I was like, Drake did something like that nobody's been able to do all year, and that's make a song with Sexy Red that nobody wanted to play in the club this weekend. And honestly, even if they did, you take Sexy Red off the hook, that song is dead on arrival.
How you mess up a Sexy Red feature?
So I'm just saying.
That's a weird thing to say.
Yeah, we can talk
because
about
she messes up everything. But
I mean, he right though in terms
But
of
I'm
them-
talking about from when like I said, seeing culture move and shake in real time.
it sounded like it was recorded in a bathroom too.
Yeah, it probably was. It was Sexy Red. But I'm just saying. Let's not. Okay, that was unnecessary.
Was it
I'm
recorded?
sorry.
Maybe it was recorded on her phone.
Yeah.
Oh my
I'm
gosh,
sorry.
man!
I'm
Brilliant.
at a
Go ahead,
Cardinals
man.
game in the bathroom.
Oh, see,
Yeah.
well, the Cardinals aren't playing right now, so I'm just saying.
Yeah.
That's why she was able to do it.
Stop. Okay.
There it is.
Now we've taken it way too far. No,
Go
we
ahead-
haven't.
go ahead,
no,
man.
we're here to pod today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Go ahead, get back to pod.
No, and I'm just saying we keep making excuses for dude. You know what I'm saying? Even when he put out that dance, album or whatever, people are like, "Oh, you just don't get it." Or like,
I don't want to get it.
and if
There's nothing.
even
to
the
get.
song he put out with 21 Savage, like when usually they strike up a nice little chemistry, I'm like, no, this ain't it either.
Listen,
Like-
you know what's crazy? So he put out his dance album at the same time that Beyonce put out her dance album. The Renaissance tour was just a huge hit.
True.
We don't even talk about that. We
Worldwide.
don't even talk about that dance
Worldwide.
album
You know what
no
I'm saying?
more.
True.
You don't even talk about that album anymore. He's had another one since then that it was better than that
Well,
one.
no, I mean, I enjoyed the record he did with 21.
Yeah.
That was, if you were gonna call it something for the dogs,
It should have been
that's
that
what
one.
it would. But when you start off this album
On a track called
No,
Virginia
no.
Beach. So I just knew he was about to have some bars for Pusha T
pushing them.
and Pharrell.
Pharrell. Yeah.
I thought he was about to go in and awaken the beast, but
no, because he's a 36-year-old man and sees to get off on talking bad about women.
What do y'all think about?
So he don't have no smoke for dudes, or he talks about how the rest of us are poor.
Yeah.
That's all he can really do is talk about women and talk about how the rest of us are poor. Those are his bars.
Make some good music. That'd be cool.
You hit on something I wanted to touch on when you talked about Drake's age. Remember when Joe Budden talked about the music that he's making and what the age group is for the records that he's making? Like he's 36?
35, 36.
35, 36. And Joe Budden was kind of breaking him down, saying you making music for these kids that are like, 19, 20, 20 years old, and you grown. Like, where's the evolution? He said he used to go at Cole for not doing that. Now he likes Cole because Cole has evolved and sounds like he's making grown music at the age that he's at. What do y'all think about that? Do you think
Cole was just thrashing everybody?
Yeah, exactly. Honestly.
What do you think about
that?
The
was
age
a mistake
group?
For you to have Cole on that record with you. And the thing is, you probably had to sit with that verse and just realize there was nothing you could do. Because let that been me, I'd have accidentally erased that. I'm not gonna have somebody doing that to me on my record.
Is there something wrong with Drake being I've always called him a pop star. Is there something wrong with him making his music for a super young demographic as a pop star?
No,
that's
as a pop star.
thing.
No, that's what he does.
That's his
like
thing.
like Taylor Swift. Even Beyonce, to a certain extent, is going to get out here and figure out what the wave is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and she pulled it off and did a great job. It was a real
made a whole bunch of money off of it.
Yeah.
Money.
So it was a real I didn't go to the Renaissance tour, but all the people it seems like there are people who the rest of the year is going to be a letdown the way they talk about this show.
Am I wrong when I say there's a way to go about the wave and still be grown?
He's not one of those artists, though.
No, I'm just asking. I'm just throwing it out there because I heard Joe talking about
Joe,
the age situation, who he's making music
He's
for.
just
and
not
the
one of
core
those
fan base.
artists, man. He's not going to address anything that's going on right now.
Mm-hmm.
He's not going to spark any interest as far as nothing that anybody that watches news or
Well, it didn't have to be
current events
political.
or things like that. But I'm saying, that generally when you talk about an artist that keeps on doing things that gets out of their comfort zone, they dibble and dabble in those type of areas and come back to what they're doing. Drake doesn't do that.
Drake is a pop star. He just makes pop music.
Drake is so
That's
popular
it.
in that lane of pop music that he has the luxury of not having to grow up.
Yeah.
Okay?
He doesn't
then
do anything relevant.
His fans are going to keep standing for him regardless.
Yeah, because he's all his music is like a lifestyle. Like
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
It's a vibe.
It's like people they try to escape through his music.
It's like
He's not.
it's for all the cats that never really got girls, so they listen to Drake because they think riding up listening to Drake is going to get them some girls.
I don't even know.
Yeah,
I should hope that's not anybody's strategy, but
I bet you it is.
I've actually heard grown men say men that don't listen to Drake are the ones that don't get the girls.
I don't know.
I don't know, man. I'm married.
I mean,
I talked to
I ain't gonna sit there and say I don't listen to Drake, but I'm not one of them guys that just can't wait till Drake drops so I can, you know what I'm saying?
I'm not going to make excuses for him.
Nah.
That's the
I
thing.
see a
There's
lot of
lot
that.
of people, y'all making excuses for him putting out this mid.
Yeah.
And in places where some of these records are just terrible.
Yeah.
Like the lyrics are not good. He's in here just phoning it in. And he's trying, and the thing is, phoning it in, low effort music is what appeals to a certain demographic. So I get that, but for you to do it all the time, and for you to be as big as you are, where you can actually have the luxury of making a genuine artistic statement, and you just on here phoning it in, like, I'm sorry, don't make excuses for this record. Take some time off, Drake. Actually think, because there was a time where I was like, oh, this Drake kid is about to be that guy.
His first couple albums.
Just think, we really talked about Kendrick, Cole, and Drake, and now
people still say the same thing. They still say those same three.
If we're putting 1, 2, 3, it is 1, 2, and a very distant 3. If you're talking about Drake, because Drake
If we're
is
talking
just
about
not there.
rapping, and we're talking about rapping, he's not even on the list.
As far as remember we talked about the difference between artists and content creation.
He doesn't make rap records.
This
man.
is content
doesn't.
creation. This is barely even art.
I was like,
I'll give him. See, I will say there is some artistic effort in there because his production is dope.
that ain't him though.
Yeah, but he's not producing his
him,
records.
But it has his name attached.
Maybe
to it.
selecting him. It's not like he's all the way just pouring everything out like certain people, but
I agree. I agree with that.
but
It's not
it's
terrible,
just, it's
but
just
it's
so
not great.
low effort. It's just like so low effort, and it just if he had records where he was actually rapping on, then I would feel okay talking about him on the show. But since he never raps and he just like la 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 la's, you know, the entire time, like I don't care, man.
The thing about it is he actually used a review from, I want to say, Take Care, where people were saying this album isn't good, this, that, and the other. Take Care was pretty decent to me.
No,
Right.
Take Care was more than decent.
Yeah, it was.
It
If
was.
we're talking about a classic album,
For
that's
sure.
one of his classic albums.
Yeah.
And so he actually posted that in comparison to what people were saying about this one. But the thing about this one is it just sounds so lazy, and it's just a repeat of everything that he's doing, man.
Take Care was different for its time.
Exactly.
And maybe,
This isn't.
And now I'm not trying to shoot him any bail, but like this makes a case for why you should not be trying to create on the road. You know, get yourself into a space where you're dedicated to actually.
Did he
creating a
record
piece
this?
of-
Did he record a lot of this?
I
on the
mean,
road?
apparently.
I don't
know.
know. Odyssey writes a lot of his stuff on the road, and all his stuff is amazing. So I don't know. You know what I mean?
Well,
Kind of depends, man. He just needs to get out of. Well, I can't even say it because it's not going to happen. We talk about this every time he drops an album. This is his pocket.
Yeah.
This is where he's going to stay. This is where he's comfortable at.
Yep.
So anytime you hear a Drake album, expect it to sound similar to this, around the same tones and
Yep.
vibes of that nature, because it's not going to change.
he does the same thing every time. It's like, okay,
It
he
works
gives you,
for him.
It
does.
gives you some.
It's just
There's
not good.
something on there. Be like, okay, this is gonna bang.
Yeah.
Because once again, I listen to be critical, so we can have discussions here.
Mm-hmm.
But I also listen to like, okay, what could we possibly break in the club? Do you just break up the monotony
Man,
of
it's
what
just-
it is we have to do? And he does. Like he always gives me a couple.
Yeah, he's going to give you a couple.
But then he gives me like, you know, but then the rest of it is like, I'll never listen to any of this ever again.
But it always strikes me as very formulaic. Is I'm gonna make sure I get that one joint where I'm rapping, quote unquote, and then it's
Yeah, but he
just
fails at that. So
His first single was cool. The one
Yeah.
with the video with the sun in it. I thought that was straight. That was the first one that I heard. I don't even know the name of it.
That was actually the second one.
was that the second one?
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's the first one that I
Yeah,
heard.
that was a decent one.
And that one came out. I was like, all right, cool. Maybe he's going to be, you know, doing something
that's
on
the
this.
thing. That's his formula he follows. Every time before he drops an album, he drops a really good rap song before the album comes out. And it never follows the same pattern or
Isn't it
feel
usually-
of that rap song.
Most of those songs he blacks out on are called something in, and it's a city,
like
right?
a city or a time or something like I can't
8
remember.
a.m. in Charlotte was this one.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
that's that one, right?
But
Which I liked.
I you know what? When it comes down to just the recording process, it's probably just a lot easier to get on there and just sing a whole bunch of random stuff and have somebody capture it and then just turn it into a song than actually write something.
and knowing that it's going to be successful when you do it. Yeah.
He knows he can get on and go, ha-da-da, ha-da-da, and then it's going to work.
Yeah, man.
I'm just saying. Whatever.
I know that joint will be, once it clears whatever the cycle, that joint will be number one on all of the
playing streaming games, man. 23 tracks. It's not 20. Come on.
So far, it's been the J. Cole song has been number one, and just here recently the one with him.
Yeah, because of J. Cole.
Him and
I didn't think that
what's
song was
that guy? Yeet. The one
Oh,
with
we-
him and Yeet is now number one. So it's going back and forth between the Yeet song and the J. Cole now.
Let's move on. I'm getting annoyed by Drake.
All right, well, I don't want my brother.
Don't drink and drive.
Yeah, I don't want my brother getting annoyed.
It's just like he put out an R&B album and we're talking about it on a hip hop show.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I mean, I'm not mad at it. It's just like one of those things. It's like, of all the things, the fact that we have to talk about him is just annoying.
You know what's crazy? What you just said is a very fair assessment. It's damn near R&B album.
It's not. I mean, it is. He rapped
Especially that second
twice.
half where it gets really bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again,
The
let's
first
move on.
half, I can. There's
move
some
on.
things I can figure out, but
It's
the
for all
second
the
half,
dogs, man. It's for all the dogs.
Move
Yeah.
on.
which kind of dog though?
Don't matter. What's
Poodles.
next? Move on. Hard stop. Transition.
Hard stop.
Transition.
Shih Tzu.